What's going on, everybody? Let's take a look at a budget controller by Hyperkin for the PlayStation 5, PS4, PS3, PC, and Mac. It's called the CIRKA. Now, this controller any good? That's what we're going to be talking about in this video. So if you guys are new here and you guys love controller reviews, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. So this is a wireless controller, like I said, by Hyperkin. It is compatible with most PlayStation consoles, like I said, 5, 4, 3, and PC and Mac. It does come with a micro charging cable, which is kind of a bummer. It has motion sensing technology, front speaker light bar, and it does have rumble features. So let's just crack this thing open. Let's take a look at the quick quality of this controller, and I'll let you guys know how it feels in the hands and if it's worth $45.99. So this one's making me a little bit nervous, guys, because even though it does say PlayStation 5 compatible on the front of the box, I think that might be a little misleading here. And yeah, here's your micro USB charging cable for quick, fast charging, the fastest you'll ever find on the street. Now, we're tired of these, man. I don't know why they're still packing this together. Anyways, guys, first impressions are okay. It definitely feels a little light, but you know, so as you can see here, it does have a headphone jack, so you can plug in a pair of headphones. It does look a lot like a PlayStation 4 controller. The way the layout is, the way the micro USB is on the top, and the light bar. You know, for the most part, the buttons feel okay. The joysticks aren't that bad. The analog sticks do push in, they do work. The triggers aren't too squishy. They do have a nice spring to them. And the face buttons aren't too bad, but it's not as high quality as a PS5 DualSense. You know, the DualSense has a lot of tech packed into it. It is a very high quality controller. Oops, I just popped on my PlayStation 5, but that's okay. As you can see there, it is trying to replicate more so the PlayStation 4 controller. So yeah, I mean, it does kind of work on your PlayStation 5, but it kind of doesn't, you know what I mean? So as you can see here, the layout's pretty similar. The triggers look, you know, somewhat the same. The shoulder buttons aren't as big as the PlayStation 5. And the overall build quality, as far as the plastic goes, it does feel a little light. You know, it's definitely not packed full like a PlayStation 5 controller, so it will have less weight to it. And this D-pad, I gotta tell you, this D-pad is absolutely horrendous. It's really slippery and really mushy. So that's probably the worst thing about the controller is the D-pad. It looks like it would be a nice D-pad when you're looking at it from a distance, or maybe, you know, looking at it in its package, but once you put it in hand, it's not very nice. So like I said, guys, it does more look so like a PlayStation 4 controller. I really think that's what they were going for, you know, not to replicate the PS5. But when I noticed this in the store, I was like, man, it works on the PlayStation 5. You could, and it says it right there on the box. So what we got to do, guys, is we got to plug this thing in. We gotta sync it to our PlayStation 5 and see how well it does work on a PlayStation 5, because, you know, that's the reason why I got it. That's the reason why I wanted to show you guys this controller, because there are other PlayStation 5 controllers out there, but they're pretty spendy. And the DualSense itself runs anywhere from like $69.99 to $79.99, because they can get, you know, they can get up there with those custom colors and stuff. So, I mean, you know, like as you can see here in these shots, it looks more like a PlayStation 4 controller. I think that's exactly what they were going for, but it does say on the box that it works on PS5. So let's give it a try. Let's plug it in, let's sync it, and we'll go from there. Anyways, let's jump into some gameplay on the PlayStation 5. So as you can see here, here is my startup screen. I'm going to sync the controller up, and right away it recognizes it as a PlayStation 4 controller. It will kick in here in just a second. And then it says on the top right screen, or it says right here, right in the middle, who's using the PlayStation or the DualShock 4. So it recognizes as a 4 controller. And it says that on the back of the box too. So let's try to see if it'll run a PlayStation 5 game. Let's boot up. Oh, nope, right there. On the top right, it says it will not work for a PlayStation 5 game. Right there on the top. You can only use a DualSense controller when playing a PlayStation 5 game, or, you know, another third-party controller that supports that, which is kind of a bummer. You think that PlayStation and Sony would do an update to where you can use the DualShock 4 controller, especially on games that are getting these upgrades from their PlayStation 4 versions, you know, like Cyberpunk here. I mean, there are some features that are available, but, you know, shut off the adaptive triggers, for instance. But let's go ahead and jump into another game. Let's try Astro's Playroom, because that game really utilizes the PlayStation 5 DualSense controller. I mean, the game is built around the controller, so let's give that one a try. But nope, again, it recognizes as a DualShock 4 controller, so that is a bummer. Actually, you know what? I couldn't even get either one of these games to even boot up at all past the loading screen, past the screen, like for instance, like right here. But I did notice with Astro's Playroom that the microphone worked, or the speaker on the controller worked, and you could actually hear some of the sound effects. So that was kind of cool. But it doesn't. You know, it's like I said earlier, I wish that Sony would and PlayStation would do something about this and update it so we can use a DualShock 4. It doesn't make any sense because you can use most of the features just fine, you know. But let's start up a PlayStation 4 game and let's see how it runs, because, you know, I do want to test out this D-pad on this controller. You know, it doesn't feel good at first impressions, but let's give it a try with Ultra Street Fighter 4, because this to me would be the ultimate test for a D-pad. I'm an old school gamer. I love old school type fighting games, and whenever I play a Street Fighter game, I always use the D-pad. And so let's give this one a try here and see how this D-pad functions, because like I said earlier, it's pretty mushy, it's pretty slippery, it's the worst feature of the controller. You know, to me, this makes no sense, because I believe over at Hyperkin, there are a lot of gamers there, and most gamers, I think, would not like a D-pad like this. So it doesn't make any sense to me that in 2022, there's not this perfected, you know, layout from anybody making a controller to perfect a D-pad. But yeah, it doesn't function very well. I could barely pull off anything here with Evil Ryu. So yeah, this D-pad is pretty rough. So, you know, guys, honestly, it's hard for me to recommend this controller at $45.99. Maybe find it on sale if you're looking for a third-party controller to save a little bit of money to play your PS4 games on your PS5, just because of the function of the D-pad. That's the only thing that would keep me from not buying this controller, is the D-pad. Everything else seems pretty good. The analog sticks seem fairly nice. The triggers, the shoulder buttons, you know, even the face buttons feel pretty good. They don't feel all that bad, really. But you can definitely tell it's not as high quality as a PlayStation 5 DualSense, and you're actually not going to be able to get the same features. You're not going to be able to play PS5 games with this controller. But, you know, fingers crossed that hopefully Sony and PlayStation will change that here in the near future. But at this time, I cannot recommend the CIRKA from Hyperkin for using it on your PlayStation 5. However, on the PS4, PS3, it'll be just fine. But anyways, guys, that's it from me. Thank you so much to Retro World for sending this controller into the channel. I really appreciate it. And guys, get out there, support your local community retro game stores. Let's keep them alive. Let's keep them going. And if you're ever in Nampa, Idaho, make sure to stop by Retro World. Tell Steve that No Friendo sent you, and go buy some games from him. All right, we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.